Hello. This short video will be a quick description of our Brightspace website and then also a view of our syllabus and some of the course requirements. So here's the home page for our exercise physiology website, and I have organized our class into content folders. So you can see over here on the left-hand side are different content folders. These are currently open for me as the instructor. They're not yet open for you, although I will open them up as our course begins. You can also view all these content folders, obviously by just clicking on content, and all the content folders will open up. And here they are again, and notice that these are hidden currently, but I'll open them up. Uh, and you've already seen, or you should have seen by now, hopefully, the syllabus and just getting started. So here's our number one content folder of just the syllabus, and with some dates and our book and some uh, other information on how to get started with Brightspace and grades and all kinds of information. So let's look at the syllabus to start off with. I'm just going to drag over the syllabus because it's on another screen. And so here's our syllabus. If you need to get in touch with me, unless you're here in Cortland, probably the best way is by email. And even though I go by the name Jim, my official email is james.hokanson@cortland.edu. Um, I'll answer your emails. I'm more of a morning person, so I'll probably answer them in the morning. uh, and if you have something in the evening or at nighttime, I may not be around my computer, but I usually wake up early and we'll work on this class early. So I'll answer any emails then. A couple official dates that we don't officially have new content on Memorial Day and in June. And this class goes from Wednesday, May 21st till Thursday, June 26th. So that's when our final online test will be. And we'll look at the dates. The way I've organized it is by week, so sort of Monday through Thursday or Monday through Friday. But obviously, this is a asynchronous course, so that's when stuff will be posted. But you can work on it when you've got time or when your schedule meets. I know many of you are probably working over the summer, so it's nice to have these asynchronous courses. Here's the textbook. So I do have material that you're required to read out of the textbook. It's a couple years old, so 2015, it's the fifth edition. You should be able to find it online. You should be able to find actually a relatively inexpensive version of it, just because it's a couple years older and a new edition has come out. But we've thought we'd stay with the older edition. It's a little less expensive. Um, I will share some notes that I copy straight out of the book, but I won't be sharing everything straight out of the book. So it is worth it to probably find this book or find a version or an online version of this book. Um, so typically the way I've organized it, and we'll look at some of the dates, but I've organized it again by week. And so we start off with a short week, and then we have 4 full weeks, and then another short week. But typically for a full week, like Monday through Sunday, I'll post material Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So 4 days typically. And that's material. And then inside each day, I'll have lecture notes, I'll have videos, I'll have book notes, and maybe some supplemental videos or supplemental material. And I'll try to list those. Um, Typically, I'll have one or two files of lecture notes and one or two videos for each day. The videos are not long, they're 10, 15, 20 minutes. Um, so there may be like 2 videos per day. Uh, so in terms of the requirements, and we'll look at these as well. So for each week, so a typical Monday through Sunday week, you'll probably have 2 short 5-point quizzes. And these will open up after you complete appropriate videos. Uh, they're only 5 points. You can retake these quizzes. So, if you didn't understand a question, if you sort of guessed or missed a question, you can go back and retake it. And so everyone should be getting 5 out of 5s on these short quizzes, and there'll probably be 2 of them each week. At the end of each week is one longer 25 point, and I'm calling this a test. So it's a longer 25-point test. This you cannot retake. Um, and then also at the end of the week, we'll be due one homework assignment. This may be like a lab, it may be some kind of homework that you'll turn in. And all of these items are officially due Sunday night at midnight. Depending on when you go through the material, they may open up for you earlier, but you need to view the material of that week before these items will open up for you. Um, and that's what I've labeled here in number 4. So the quizzes won't open until you've actually watched the appropriate video. And obviously I'm organizing it by days, but it's asynchronous class. So I will open up material for each week. Although you've got to go through in sequential order and watch the videos, and then quizzes will open up for you. But you could do that, in just 2 days or something. And so if you have those 2 days free, you could do a lot of work and get stuff done. Um, uh, I will wake up each morning, and since I'm a morning person, I'll drink my coffee and I will send out a to-do list or like a checklist. So that's a daily checklist. But again, and that sort of helps me organize it as well. But you may not be working on stuff every day, just depending on your work schedule at home. But that's what I'll be sending out by like an announcement link email that you'll probably get. Um, uh, and even though it's online and even though it's, summer session, I mean, it's a pretty short summer session. We've got 6 weeks. And so realistically, at least this is what I think about, plan on each day about an hour a day. So that means I'll have some videos to watch, some readings that you need to do out of the book, or some readings to do online. So that's going to take you about, plus or minus an hour to watch all that and read all that. And then there may be some uh, assignment or a quiz or something to do. So that may be about an hour a day. So sort of plan realistically on like 2 hours a day of working on this summer session class. So it's a busy 6 weeks, but it's nice that it's flexible and you can be working at home or doing other things. Um, and it's sort of, um, I guess what would be a priority of studying would be my notes and my YouTube videos that I've made. Um, then look at the PowerPoints that I've copied maybe from the book. Um, then also a third priority for studying, look at my review questions or the lab questions or homework questions or quiz questions. Um, a fourth priority is readings out of the book. And even though, it's a fourth priority, you still should go through those readings. And also maybe a fifth priority are supplemental videos that I've found. And so some of these are Khan Academy that you maybe have seen before. Um, so all of these are terms of priority of studying. You should try to do everything. Obviously, the stuff that I talk about and present is probably a priority. Um, you can read about the course description and course objectives. And so just so we're just so we all understand everything, um, uh, you've got to make sure one issue with online classes that you're probably aware of, if you've ever had any, is you just have to keep on top of things so you can't get behind. And if you are studying to get behind, or if you see you're not going to make one of our Sunday midnight due dates, I mean, just let me know. Send me an email and let me know what's happening. Don't just not do it because that would count as a 0. And the quizzes and those 25-point tests that are each due Sunday night, I mean, they'll go away after, um, realistically, they'll probably go away after Monday morning because I won't grade them Sunday night. So they'll go away Monday morning, but whatever. Um, So there's no like makeup exams or quizzes, and there'll be zeros. And if you're, behind, if you're getting stuck with things, just let me know and we can deal with it. Just don't make sure you don't not do something because that'll be a 0. Um, so since this is this is an online class. Um, Obviously, you can use my notes as references. You can use the book as references. You can use, online sources. You just can't cut and paste. So if I ask you, for a definition, I think this is our first homework assignment coming up, a definition for what is VO2 max. I would like that to be in your own words. So you can look it up. You can look it up in the book. You can ask AI and see what AI defines as VO2 max. But you're not allowed to cut and paste AI's definition or a Google website definition. It needs to be in your own words. Um, uh, if you're turning in like a lab assignment, um, that also has to be in your own work. So you can't copy if you've got friends in this class. You just can't, use each other's same lab. It has to be your own work. This is obvious, but just so we're all on the same page. Um, and so just make sure you're aware of all these things. I mean, I know it's an online class, so it's sort of different format, but just make sure we're aware of stuff. And here's sort of this is a fun class. We're talking about how we're getting energy from nutrition. That's what we sort of start off with. Then we're going to talk about the cardiovascular system, so like heart and lung stuff. And then we'll talk about towards the end of June, we'll be talking about muscle activity and muscle structure and muscle movement. It's a really fun class. Um, so here's the grades, and there's another link in this first content folder for just this table. But the key is out of 350 points. So out of this summer, you'll accumulate a max of 350 points in terms of quizzes. So there'll be 10 5-point quizzes. So that's 50 points. There'll be 5 of those weekly 25-point tests. So that's 125 points. There'll be 5 weekly homework assignment labs, and they're worth 10 points each. And then a final that will be worth 125 points. So if you add all these up, that's 350 points. And then in Brightspace, it will just calculate out a percentage. And so I just gave an example here. Let's say you want to get a B plus grade. So if here's someone accumulated 305 points out of 350 points, you divide that out. So it's 0.871. So that's an 87.1%. So that's just on the low end of a B plus letter grade. And so here's my grading scale. So A's are 93 to 100. A minuses is 90 to 92.9 officially. So I'd go by 1 decimal place. Uh, And so here are the other policies that I always have to have in the syllabus. But again, make sure you're aware of this using AI. And if I think that you are using AI to answer a question, I won't accept that lab assignment or I won't accept that question. So obviously, use all these resources you have, but just make sure you answer stuff in your own words. I want, to know what your definition of VO2 max is. Like reading all the material out that is out there, what do you think is your definition? Okay, so here again is our syllabus. And again, probably the best way to get a hold of me is by my email. Also, with this summer session, I mean, we're all, probably have more flexible time. I've got more flexible time. So we could certainly meet like online if you want to. So if you want to like do meet by WebEx or Teams or Zoom or whatever you want to use, if you're really stuck with something and you want to sort of like talk to me about it, we can certainly try to arrange that. And I've done that before other summers. We don't have to do that officially, but if you want to, we can. Um, and that's a good way to sort of maybe get some better explanation of things. But probably the best way to get in touch with me is by this email. Uh, so that's a brief review of our syllabus. And now this is also posted online. Um, but here's our schedule of classes and when things are due. So we're starting off, week 1, and it's Wednesday, May 21st, obviously our first day of class. And then, so for this first short week, we're going to have material Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Um, on this Friday content folder, I'll explain what your first homework assignment is. Um, and then by Sunday night at midnight, you'll have that homework assignment due. You'll have a short 5-point quiz due. And you'll also have a longer 25-point test due. And all this material will be, or these quizzes and tests will be from the material that we've covered, actually Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this first shorter week. And then you can look and see how I've sort of, divided it up. Again, I've divided it up by weeks and then by days of the week. Typically, Friday is a review day, so not new material. Um, and then Sunday night at midnight is when all these items are officially due. Depending on how quickly you go through the material um, and how quickly you watch the videos, the quizzes will open up. So you need to watch the videos in sequential order for these short 5-point quizzes and the longer 25-point test to open up. But all those things are due Sunday night at midnight. And then I will probably open up next week's folder. I'll probably be working on it on this Friday. So hopefully by this Friday and hopefully over the weekend, then at least, the material for the next week then will be open and you can start working on the next week's material. So I'll open things up, 1 week in advance. Um, and you can scroll down to the bottom. So again, at the end of our summer session, we have another short week. So here's stuff due our last Sunday night at midnight. These items are due. We'll have a short review quiz that will be due before our final. And the last day of class, and our final is officially due Thursday, June 26th at midnight. Uh, So a lot of stuff to go over in our short summer session, but also a lot of fun and really interesting material. Um, and other students that have had this in the past um, have liked how I've organized it, or most of them have liked how I've organized it. And I've made, and some I've saved, some I make again, but some relatively short videos that hopefully will explain some things that are in the book or in my notes. So again, if you have any questions, reach out, and really looking forward to this summer session of exercise physiology, and welcome. And this should be really, really exciting. Thanks. Bye.